Right. Good morning. Hello, hello, hello. You guys let me know if the sound is working okay. Had an issue with Todd where the sound was just not wanting to work. Oh, sorry. I was like running behind. I looked down. I needed some assistance. I was like, oh, I forgot to refill coffee. All right, cool. Thank you. Yeah. So, like, I was like, I couldn't, like, I looked down. I was like, oh, man. So, I typically will like fill up the tumbler, like the tumbler set on coffee for a big one. And then when I drink it to the bottom, I'll do like the small cup just to like kind of like top it off, reheat it type thing. I had no coffee left and I was like, oh, maybe a little bit low? Hmm. It looks okay. Maybe a little bit. But yes, I ran. I was like, Melissa, please bring this up to me in 2 minutes. And she's like, all right. So coffee will be delivered. But yeah, I'm tired. Long weekend. It was very busy. I updated the newsletter this morning. Was in tryouts for that high school team that I've been helping with from like 3 to like I think 7ish, 8ish, and then we met and had dinner, and then we like reviewed all the kids. I think I got home at like almost 10 o'clock last night, and then of course everybody's like, "You were up late, fine. You're waking up at 5:30 today," so definitely hurting. And I don't know if I told you guys, I took like a big hit on my shoulder. Why I ended up falling on my shoulder last week. Man, my neck has been popping. It's like clink, 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 clink all weekend. My neck's not popping now, but I got such pain. I'm like, Melissa, give me your chiropractor's information. Um, yeah, this is going to be a long week. Long week. I got a coach tomorrow night, and I'm probably going to get recruited to play games. So they do something here. It's called Shootout for Soldiers. It's basically a 24-hour lacrosse game. Um, like every hour, like teams or like new people are brought in. I have to coach a high school playoff game at 6, but then um, they're like trying to recruit. They're like, well, we need players in the 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning game, and then also in the 5 to 6. I'm like, I can't. They're like, we're gonna grill out. Well, you got plenty of Red Bulls. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. I love lacrosse, but 3 to 4 o'clock, and then you want me to play another 5 to 6 one, and then come home. I'm like, yeah, I'll be done. Um, and then Thursday, there will be no chart school Thursday morning. I'll actually be in Ocean City. I have a tournament, so I have 2 games. I actually got pulled down on the lower team, so I don't know who I impressed at one of our games, but I got pulled into the lower age group. Well, it's to the right age group, but like I'm the exception. I could actually play in the age group one up because my birthday is in like 3, 4 weeks, so I could technically play in the older age group. But I'm being pulled back into the young one. I was like, oh, so yeah, it's like it's one of those weeks. I was like, this is the summer, but hey, what are you gonna do? Got to stay young somehow, right? But that was the discussion last night at table. Like, wait, you have good knees? I'm like, yeah, my knees are not bad yet. I was like, I've taken care of my knees, and one of those things. I'm very careful, very protective of my knees. And everybody else was like, man, I have like 6 knee. I'm like, no, I don't have that stuff. But meanwhile, I'm like, I need a chiropractor. All right, so it's Monday. It's pretty boring. FX is basically flat. I mean, thank God that the pound yen is up to -39. Thank God something is moving a little bit. It was like 16 during the Nadix video, but 5-3, you know, -28, 30. I mean, the Swiss, I guess the dollar Swiss, I can technically say is cruising, right? That's the closest to, the highest percentage of its ATR. Dollar CAD is just dead in the water right now. Uh, Aussie yen, euro pound, not a whole lot there. I'm curious to see. So Bostic and Barkin are both speaking. They're kind of weird speeches, although I think it's Bostic. Is he talking about the state of the economy? No, it is Barkin. Talking about this one here about, again, questions matter, but, you know, due to speak about the economic outlook. Okay. Now, again, it's a Roanoke, regional chamber luncheon. It's not that big of a thing, but again, the question should be interesting. The outlook is the part that I'm looking for. Um, that's probably the best bit of news today, and that's at noon. So it's kind of a strange time, but may provide some catalyst today. Overall, I mean, I'll click it for you guys. This week is pretty. I mean, there's like what, three, and two of them are at the same time, the core and then the CPI. I mean, literally, we have two red releases all week, and I even double checked this. I was like, wait, do I have everything in here? And I was like, yep, I got it all in there. And this is it. We have two releases, CPI and PPI. That's it. Nothing. Right. So it is definitely it's definitely a week to go on vacation. So if you guys are not seniors, actually, Briggs, So this year they expanded divisions. There's an open division, which is like high school. It's like open is basically like everything under like the 25 to 30 range, right? It's like college kids that comes back. They all have like their fresh college gear on. There's a 30 they added this year. It used to be like 10-year brackets. This year there's a 30 division, there's a 35 plus division, there's a 45 plus division, and a 50 plus division. And somebody said maybe a 60 this year. It's a big tournament in Ocean City. But I am playing in the 35 plus division, even though I will be 45 at the end of the month. So yeah, it is. Yes, my normal men's league is 40 plus, and we have a guy that plays in our league. He's tried to play for our team a few times, and we nice guy, but he's 82 and he's on like 3 teams. He plays defense, so he doesn't have to run much. But yeah, and there's like a given rule, like you can't dodge on him. Like if he's like twice your age. So um then I'm the drag then I'm the drag queen the drag queen of England. But yes, I do yes, I we all hurt the next day. We all have injuries, you know. And it's funny because I used to do jujitsu like 3, 4 times a week. Since COVID, I really haven't done it at all. I've kind of stepped away from it a bit, and I'll probably get back into it. But it's funny. The injuries are different. Like over there was a lot of hand and fingers and things like that. Um, and I guess I was lucky. My knee didn't really get messed up over there, but it was a lot of like fingers, toes, that kind. Not really toes, but like fingers, wrists, that kind of stuff. Um, type of injuries or like back injuries, right? Now it's lacrosse, it's like completely different. It's like more like arm injuries and like knee injuries. But it's like, once you hit a certain stage, everything's about how hurt you are. We had to explain to the kids the other day the difference between, do you guys remember that scene? I forget what it was in. I don't know if it was, I feel like it was in the movie The Program. That scene where he's like, "Are you hurt or are you injured?" And the guy's like, "What? What's the difference?" Like we had to explain that to the kids the other day, the difference between are you hurt or are you injured? It's kind of funny. We're like, yeah, we basically always play at the level of hurt. And yeah, there's guys in my league that are definitely in the injured stage, but I've been pretty lucky there. So, but yeah, so this is the week, guys. We got nothing. Nothing there. I mean, the big stories of the night, obviously, gold was getting blasted in the overnight and then retraced itself back up again. It just missed an entry, too. We had an entry down here all the way at 1674, and we got close. It got down to 1680. We missed it by $6. So it was a $100 drop. We missed it by $6, and then it retraced up, what, $80, $70, something like that. So it was a crazy mover. But let's go ahead and start from the top. So, I mean, here's Aussie. We're looking for this thing to come through and really just started the base in here. And it was like, wasn't great. Never really gave us that confirmation that we wanted. Um, about 12 o'clock it hit and then just kind of came through. And again, never really got that confirmation bounce off this level. And, we can take this one off and say, hey, listen, it would have been a great run back up. But right now it hasn't done much. So, I would say we're in this area of interest. I mean, it's been so much time basing back and forth. It dropped and it based right below, came up and touched it. Then it based in here again, spent a lot more time there, dropped and came back up, and we're basing it again. So I would say it's not really necessarily an area where we're looking to take longs or shorts off of, but understand it's going to be a level where it does kind of bounce back and forth. Now, looking for levels that we can do something with. Obviously, we have the 7316 down below. I hate it when it does this, where it's like a couple candles and then it spikes up and drops again. Um, I'd say the next level that's probably, I'm gonna say it's probably a bit more aggressive, but that's okay on this one. I think if we get something up in this range here, would be a sell, and then this kind of brackets us off for like the next 24 hours as far as we need to be. Let me check this blue level real quick. Yeah, blue level held pretty decent there. So yeah, I would say that probably this is what we're looking for. Top and bottom. We're literally skirting right down the middle right now inside of an area of interest. And I wish I could find something closer for a short. But right now I'm just not really necessarily interested in messing with any of this. And I hate this candle. It is my least favorite type of candle setup, especially when it's in the middle of the road there, to be able to take. Now, I will say, let me start with this first. The dollar is in an interesting place right now where it really, and again, I'm gonna go back to a 30-minute. It pushed up, and then since that time, it's put lower highs in. And with this racetrack, it does look like the dollar is more set up for a push back to the downside for some weakness. So that should actually, whoops, I lost it. That should actually help kind of get us a bit higher here, and that should bring us up. That would be decent because that area in the dollar is a nice little buy point. So if we do push up, I think 74.02 is decent. It's been tested. One time it held it and then drove it down. But right now, 74.02 and 73.16 are good top and bottom. Aussie yen. The Aussie yen. as you can see, we had the short there last week, and again, what did it do? Spent time here again, time. Then it became a bottom. It based in here again and became a top, and then a top again and dropped, and we're smacking the same level. So right now, I would say kind of a similar situation, right? We got 81.42, and I'll go ahead and change this to red so we can kind of stake our claim for the week. And then downside, this has been hit twice. Right, it's been hit twice, but it had a nice little rally and it served its purpose before. I'm going to say yes. There is a short here at this 80.53 level. I can take this down now. I don't need that anymore. I would say I think there's a short if we get a break of 80.51. Right. I like the way that this came down. There's not really any bit of a pullback, but I think that this level could actually be used. Actually, let me shrink this a bit. Oh, not that one. I got to move this one to there. And move this up to 1 to 3, which is right there. Okay. So again, you can see it's well within range, right? I do think this level is probably worth one more hit long. So I'm actually going to throw a long position on here and then kind of use this to kind of color it and block it off. Right there. I think either of these two is decent. Again, this kind of brackets us top and bottom. This would come in here at 80.60. Only because, again, look at this. Dropped in, barely broke into it, and then punched its way higher. I think we're good. So I think 81.43. I'm sorry, 81.41, 80.60. I think are both good. If we come in and we hit this and we start basing sideways and it's starting to give us those telltale signs like, this looks like it's breaking, then we have a Harry Potter that's set up on the break and then the pullback of 81.53. So there's kind of three different setups inside of Aussie Yen as far as where I'm looking for this to go now. Just sit down, Millie. Come on, sit. Sit. Yes, I know. She wanted to come in, then she got stuck with me. Ooh, hot. Hot coffee. Woo. Hot. So there's your 3 trade setups for the Aussie Yen. Again, hopefully we can get there this week. So Euro pound is 6 pips in 24 hours. As you can see, it's really done not a whole lot. We've had this level at 84.72 that was kind of like a it was a downside target is where we originally were talking about it as, and it's really kind of held at that level. We were waiting for it to pull all the way down to 84.42. It didn't get there. So it's kind of one of those like, I mean, the area of interest obviously has worked. I mean, it has hit it, it's dropped, it's moved, but there's absolutely no trend in this whatsoever. So really kind of difficult to really pull much from it. When you look at this one, I mean, if you wanted to be a bit more aggressive in a trade, we already know that there's like kind of an area of interest just above this. But if you really wanted to be aggressive, you could say, hey, wait a second. What about this little piece right here? Could I take a short off of that? And the answer is probably. The way that it's kind of rolling, it's all right. It's not horrible. But the question is, how far can it really run? Because again, we have this level here. The answer is it can run about 15 pips. Okay. Is it kind of worth the 15 pips short for that level of risk? Probably not. Hold on one sec, guys. Hold on one second, guys. All right, back. Sorry. Dog was like, I need to go out now. And I was like, oh god, let me open the door before she starts scratching and everything else. And then of course I pulled the microphone cord out. So I see the sound button. So the reality of this one is, yeah, there's a short there. Is it going to go deep? Probably not. It's only got about 15 pips to run. So the risk to reward just really doesn't match up what you're looking to take on that one. So I just be cautious with it. Like I said, we already know it's an area that's tested right above. Keep it on your radar. If we start basing in there, again, I think there's probably somewhat of a roll from 84.85. Okay. And again, the 84.85 is that area of interest, that violated zone that was bottom, became top, and then gave us a little bit of a new level on a smaller time frame. All right. Euro yen. All right, so Euro yen, we were looking for a punch through 129.45. Really, we didn't really necessarily. This is not the entry, right? We're looking for a pullback. If you were trying to take this, that's kind of what you're dealing with right now from that same area of interest level. Actually, it'd be there, right? This was up. It was up about 13 before pulling back again, right? Kind of the same thing. I would say that it's more trending to the downside. The yen is kind of helping it a little bit right now. Um, is it ideal? No. Most likely, if you'd done this one right, you were up about 1.5 to 1. Your stop loss as a break even or making a few pips. You probably have been taken out right about now for a couple pips. Wouldn't say it's anything earth shattering. And like I said, since the US session has really started, it just has started the base sideways. So, again, it was a rather small risk, base trade. And again, this Harry Potter was set up from last week. So a lot of times we talk about not necessarily taking those or lowering the risk on them. Um, a way you could have lowered the risk on this one is one, you could have said, all right, it bounced through this level. We're going to adjust this higher and then take it from this piece right here, right? Because there was a base from yesterday, right? So you could have taken it that way if you wanted to. You could have also shortened it and taken it off the base here, since that is a more in touch base. And the 1 to 3 is only that far, right? And there would have been your break, your pullback, and your drop. And same thing. Technically, it would have been stopped out on the top side. So again, that's why you got to be cautious with this one. And again, it all really depends on, again, your level of risk of this. But I think, we talked about the 129. Technically, right now from the original trade setup, you were sitting right there. And you can see, again, I got to readjust this. Hold on. 1, 2, 3. Oops. No, it's too much. There we go. So we'll see what it does. But that was the original trade setup from last week. And remember, a lot of these I don't really necessarily carry across. Um, I kind of let them reestablish themselves on Monday. I'm gonna pull this one now. Pull that. Yeah, it's good for right now. So, and there's the far side. I'm gonna get like a full picture of it. Okay. Euro dollar. All right. So euro dollar. Euro dollar. We had this crazy spike, right? We had this big gap right here. And then we came all the way right back up again. It was like an instantaneous gap past and then rally back up again. And we're in the exact same spot from where we ended last week. So hasn't really moved much. But like I said, it's like you get this and you're like, what are we doing with this? We were looking for it to open. And I mentioned this being at the 1739. I was actually kind of surprised it dove past. Um, we talked about this Friday, I guess, right? We were looking for the open in the zone. Not beyond, but it's the same trade setup. So I hope that you guys were able to catch this one to the north. Um, like I said, it gapped a little bit past. We are looking for an entry. Once it opened, it did exactly what we thought. Right now, is there a trend in the last 12 hours? No. So again, bouncing through this kind of this little area of interest, but at this point, I would say that this is kind of really more what it looks like. But there's really not a whole lot there. With this gapping all the way down, I would say watch for this area here. We can remove this. This was our entry area, right? That was our entry area. It's gone now, right? I would say, I want to take that to the top side. Um, hmm, probably not. I'm gonna leave this on. I'm gonna leave that on right now because that's acting as an area of interest. Um, take that. Let's do this. Use that as a short. 118.05. Yeah, I think those are the two we're going to use right now. I expect there to be a hiccup here. I do expect there to be a hiccup right there. But overall, I think that's what I'd be using. I want to keep that. I'll remove that right now. Let that it's bouncing off of it. But we're going to use this one as our area. I would say there's our three levels. Short from 118.05, long from 117.11. Right now, until it gets a trend, there's not really a whole lot we can do with it. Like I said, if this is pushing the down, if you are going to take a short in this, there are small shorts. I mean, again, you could have just taken that, the short off the wick over wick, right? You could have just taken that short. I would get out before you get all the way down here to 117.24. The reason why is I expect buyers to step in. It gapped to that level, they held it, and it drove higher. And it was a decent, It was a decent spike of about 36 pips. So just be cautious of it. Okay. Pound yen. There's your pound yen trade. Okay. Um, let's see. We ended the week right. I mean, the entry on this one would have been about 5 o'clock. And again, holding it, holding, holding. It's completed now. It doesn't matter what entry you're taking. So we're out from the 153. I'd be very cautious using this zone again. I'm gonna keep this one on. I'm gonna shrink this to here now. And again, just adjust that a bit more. That is off. We're gonna pull this here. We're gonna pull this down. Ooh, there's buyers right there. Mhm. Good short there. Hmm. Area is way too big. I'm trying to see if the indicator gave me a smaller version, but they're like, nope, whole thing. And I think you got to watch that whole thing. Um, I don't know if it's going to get to there. So this here is showing me that there's buyers sitting there. Okay, the indicator is grabbing basically from here down to here. Way too big of a risk for me, right? So I'm curious if we use the PVT or the PVZ, I guess. Um, it's just the chunking in here is going to suck. I'm wondering if we set this up. See. Like I said, I don't know how it's going to approach. That's the big question I don't have the answer to right now. Problem is, I think we're going to get stuck right in here. Is where I think we're going to hit some issues. So right now, the way that this looks, again, we know that we don't necessarily have a lot of buyers stepping into much lower. Again, this is the opening print, right? This is the opening candle. That's why there's such indecision in it. There's basically no body in it. It does look like it still wants to continue to push to the downside. I'd wait for it to come in. I think we're gonna. I think this was gonna hit this area and bounce. I don't know if we're gonna get an entry, but if you are able to get an entry on this one, I would say that look at the excuse me the 152.22 level is probably a decent level for the pound yen. All right. And then again, the 153.13, I'm good with that one up top. That's for a fine level with a one candle base up top. So that works for me. Pound yen. Back and forth. Look at this. Continue this across like base, 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 base. Open, pulled up, ran on the bottom, based in, pulled back up, came up, pulled back in again. So it loves this area. I think 138.17 is the next area that we really kind of focus on. This one has got not a lot close. It's funny. The indicator is marking off this little pop here right below, but I'd probably let that one go. That's the third attempt to the downside. So where is a 4 hour? 1 hour's lower. Oof, it's a big 4 hour. What is it marking this on? Okay, yeah. Actually, you know what? Let me see. How much is that? That's 15. That's not bad. Okay, I could be swayed on that one. I could be swayed. Okay. 138.17. And again, if you are short, this is obviously your profit target. Okay. If you're not, if you're just going to let this ride down, and again, if you're short, watch out this level right below. But I think 138.17 is probably a decent bounce level on that one. But yeah, definitely look for that one. There's not really much in this one. I mean, our top and bottom is still valid. We're right at the 50% mark. Yeah, look at this. It hit it and then hit it again and then came and based in it. Spent a lot of time basing there. So change this to red for the week. Hmm, decent bottom. Probably go a bit lower. I would say just a green. I would say that there's probably an aggressive short. I'm sorry, an aggressive long, probably in this area here. There's another area I'd watch out for. Right there. Okay. Again, 125. It's a round number. And 125 is a big one. Which, by the way, 25 is my number in the cross, just so you guys know. You know. God, there's just something about the way coffee goes down. And the thing is, I always question this too, right? And maybe you guys can answer this question for me, right? Like coffee, it's like I don't put anything in it. I just drink it black, right? I pick on Melissa because she puts like two packages of sugar, three or four creamers in there. I was like, this is like, you know, it's just like French vanilla milk with a coffee back, like a coffee aftertaste, right? But it's like, do I like? I mean, it's like if you think about it, if someone describes coffee, they're like it's bitter, and it's like the description of coffee is not good, right? You can say it's acidic and nutty and bitter and like how you explain it, right? It's like, does it taste good because your brain's like we're getting caffeine, right? Or do you legitimately like the flavor? Like I feel like, you know, it's like people that smoke, right? Like if they stop smoking for 6 months and then try to smoke, this is horrible. Like, why would I do this, right? But when you are a smoker, and when you smoke, you're like, yeah, these taste good, right? It's like, is your sense of taste just completely tricked by your brain, or do you actually enjoy it, right? It just makes you wonder. And so I always wonder with coffee is like, does this taste good right now? Because would I like this still if it was decaf? And I've tried the nutty taste description. Yeah, yeah, but I mean, like amaretto, right? I mean, like amaretto flavored beans, they smell. You're like, oh, this is like sweet, and like you're like, oh yeah. I mean, you're thinking like straight up like amaretto type drinks. But then you drink it, and you're like, it's still bitter. Maybe I taste a little bit of that there, but like it's not like you know, I don't know. It's my rant today. Anyway, 126.04, 124.83 or 82, and then 125. Obviously, watch out. That could actually be a decent buy then because of the whole number. Dollar Swiss is moving. So this one got to about 1.5 to 1 at 91.58, and then kind of rolled back. And again, it really it ended there, right? We here's where we actually I guess we opened. I guess we opened here, so it did. It pulled up. It went to about 1.5 to 1, and then kind of pulled up and is now going higher. So this would have been a stop loss at break even. And again, is it an extreme? No, it's not an extreme level. That's why it's a yellow here. And this one pushed to the brink. That's why we left it yellow and not red. It was actually the profit target if we broke through. That's why it's in black still, not white. But again, you could have taken a small short. I wouldn't say that this one was earth shattering. It was up about 13 pips. Obviously, the risk on it is rather small. It's 8. So again, you were well over one to one. So you would have had got stopped out at break even. We'll remove it now. It is now a level of basing. Oops, let me remove that back. All I wanted to do was bring it sideways. We'll take it off now. And looks like we do have a couple hit areas. Yeah, I'd wait for this one up top. 92.12. We're going to hold this one across up top. And I will say, although we're going to remove this, we're going to put that on. We're going to change that red, and we're going to put a drop below 91.38. Science, right? Corey, I really would love to know, right? Yeah. But again, Corey, science is one of those things. I'm going to tell you I believe in science until it doesn't suit my narrative, and then we're going to just ignore science, right? And then I can find something on the internet that will help me, right? Isn't that how it works? Right? Anyway, let's see. Let's put, right? Right. If it doesn't meet my narrative, then, you know, I can find scientific, and you know what the crazy thing is? The people that are the people that are like all about science at the same time are the first ones to abandon science, right? I feel like that, I feel like the religious folk, it doesn't matter. They always believe in God, but I feel like the science people, right? Because that's the other end of the spectrum. I believe they like science until it doesn't find them, and then they like I said, it's kind of like It was like that. Like I was in when I was in pharmaceuticals like years ago, right? I was in pharmaceuticals for about 10 years and loved the industry. I thought it was great. But that was like when Jenny McCarthy got really, really big, and there was all like the vaccines give autism and da 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 da, and it all came from like one report and everything. And then it turned out that the entire report was falsified. It was kind of like these people were quoting science, right? And it's like, this is it. This is the report. This is giving us the inside thing, right? And it turns out it was all completely fake. Like the guy's in jail now. It's one of those things, but it's like, you know, I don't know that there was ever like public apologies for that. So it's like you were the first one to be all about science. And now there's all the science that says the exact opposite, but I don't hear you being as vocal now, right? Right? It's absolutely hysterical. So, yeah. What is it? Biden Jr. over here? Not me. Yeah, that guy. Emails are bad. Emails are good. Emails are bad. Emails are good. Right? I deleted 60,000 emails. We spied on you during your campaign. I did the same thing, but it's wrong. Right? It's all back and forth. Um, Here we go. So yeah, dollar yen. There's a little bit of a trap sitting right there at 110.36. We were looking for 110.52. We had the parabolic move. Right, we had the parabolic move. I didn't mark this one off because again, we were done by 10:30. But here would have been your potential entry. Okay, here was where the market ended, and here is where the kind of the open happened, and then we kind of hit it here at about what 8:30 last night. This is a parabolic retracement move. Okay, I would say if you are short this one, it's going to be a long ride. Right, I mean you are up now about 21 at its peak. You were up about 30. It's going to be slow. I think if you want to ride it down to 109.82, I think you're fine. If you don't know how to trade the parabolic retracement stuff, go look on YouTube. It's there. I think I'm still the only one that calls it a parabolic retracement. Um, Most of everything that you know, at this point, I've done enough presentations online. Most of the things that I do, you will find as free content as other people are like, oh, I created this strategy. I'm like, really? Because that's what I called it. So I'm not exactly sure how you created it. Um, you see that a lot on YouTube. A lot of flattery on YouTube. Um, and then guys that just, they have 10 times the views and stuff I have, 100 times the views I have because they just have like a lot, they pay for clips and views and that kind of stuff. I don't do that kind of stuff. But yeah. So if you don't know how to do it, just look up Nadex parabolic retracement. You'll find it. But this one's an easy runner back and forth. It should have been like a total of, about 50 pips total. But it's well on its way. So not much we can do. I would say next time we have buyers, though, I mean, you could potentially use this as a rollover if we have a confirmation. Take a bounce off of it, the 109.82. It's decent. It's okay, right? I mean, it was a very strong push up. So we know that there was some, unfilled orders down there. Up top, I'd be cautious. This level's been hit twice, but I think 110.52. Oop, I hate when I do that. 110.52 was good. And then 110.91 are still two levels up top that I like. We do have this test here. And again, this is a potential Harry Potter for later because of this spike. And again, any type of positions to the downside. We're going to change this to green and change the text to black. That is a target to the downside, right? Smoking that Parmesan cheese. Yeah, I don't know. Does that work? I mean, maybe. It's aged. Everything is aged. But yeah, so there's a currency. So let's go over and look at oil. Oil was getting blasted. And again, we started the kind of the new window. Let's see, we'll put it here and right here right now. Change this to orange. Slide this back to 830. Slide this over to 1430 right there. So again, kind of a compressed air time here. I mean, it's funny. Here's the European session down. And then what did it do? It rallied right back up and we got to the same level. And now we're kind of pushing back down again. I mentioned Nadex, the two levels that we had last week. Again, it came in and based in this one just fine. Came back in, based again in the second one. So, I think there's decent buys at 64.56. We got another $1.25 today to go down until we hit those levels. Again, a lot of this news is all China based, right? China is, locking things down again. Yeah, it's a demand story. I mean, there was a surplus last week, which helped. So we'll see. I think oil inventory report this week should be good. With lack of any real news this week, I think there's probably some opportunity out there for oil. I'm curious to see how far the slide goes. Mm, love it. But if you look back, I mean, we look back to, July 21st, we kind of had that last peak. I mean, we're down like $10 in this one right now, right? Um, See here. Trying to see where like the major. I mean, these are small little hit hitbacks there. Um, Probably down here. Probably at 62. Yeah, probably 62-ish. Trying to look for like major areas that like I'm really excited about for buying. Probably 62. But I feel like if we get close to that 60 number, people are like, "Oh, we're making 60." Um, yeah, I don't really there's not much now. I think most of this movement is already done for the morning. We'll see. I mean, I think we come down to the 64. We take a confirmation bounce off of it. It's probably decent long. Oil companies are like, "Oh my god, just a week ago we were making this much money and now we're making this much money." So, there'll probably be some manipulation in that one. Um, Gold, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, this was a response to China and Australia locking things down again. Obviously, if they are locking down, that obviously hurts. Those are the two biggest candles that you will see for a while. I mean, if we look back, I mean, this is what a $10. I think it's a $10 candle. Well, the whole move is $10. This is a 30-minute candle that moved 76 cents or seven. I'm sorry, $75. So if you look back, you can see that there are no other. Yeah, that is a very, very rare move, right? But such low volume time, it immediately went back on it. So this is a future trader's nightmare. Had you been short this one over the weekend, it'd be like, yeah, we're stabilizing. It's also interesting to note that 71% of people are long. So yeah, I mean, but I think long is the right call. It's just finding where that bottom is going to actually be. The way it's looking right now, though, and again, we may see. I don't know. Let's see. Do we have any headlines from Bostic? Um, we got job openings were good, right? Supposed to be 9.2 and came in at 10 flat or 10.07. That's good. We don't have anything on Bostic yet. Looks like there's some fib analysis on gold in the Swiss. I was hoping we have a Bostic headline. Excuse me. We don't. See if it's just not going to give it to me. There is no Bostic headline yet. So he must still be talking. There's nothing noteworthy yet. Anyway, I would say, I mean, gold looks like it wants to continue to push lower. This is a very important week for gold, and some of this move I'm okay with. The reason why is because on Wednesday, we have CPI. Now, remember, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, whatever it was, we had transitory inflation, and it was supposed to go till July. In July, we absolutely did not have transitory inflation. It continued to rally at an accelerated rate. Now, and you can see it was zero point 0.9. Now it's August. We're 1 month past when they said it was going to be transitory. It is 0.5. That is still positive, right? Still positive. Now, if they're saying that, oh, look, it's slow, inflation is slowing down, yeah, I guess, but it's not like inflation is going to get up to like 10 or 11 or 12% or something like that. Like, yes, it will continue to slow down, but as long as it's positive, it is not transitory. Transitory is like the tide, it goes out and it comes back in. Until we see a negative inflation, especially in CPI, it's not there. So the two news releases this week are inflation based on Wednesday and then inflation based on Thursday. The PPI, right? Producers finished goods. So, and again, that is also positive. Gold coming down, I think, sets us up for some interesting longs this week, particularly if we can test these lows. And again, remember, the extreme is just $6 lower than this was. For today, the way that it's looking, again, you could say that, hey, listen, there's a base right there, right? There's a base. Yeah, I would say there's definitely a base there. And the way that this pushed up, again, it is a bit of a retracement. Do I have the right fibs on? No, I don't. I have the wrong fibs on. Can I do a retracement? Can I cheat on this one? There we go. Kind of. I guess I could do it the other way, right? Maybe pull it all the way up. Yeah, I can kind of do it that way. Kind of cheating, but yeah, kind of. It's not clear enough on there. Anyway, what I was looking for was the retracement on there. People have been trading these off numbers, and it did bounce off the 23.6 and it's continuing to push lower. I would say look for this one to continue lower as it is now. The way that it's looking, it's finding those buyers in here. Below that, we have a push back down to the 1700. 1700 is sitting right here, right? And again, that's where we had. I'll make this straight. I hate when it's not straight. Right there. 17 is going to be a big psychological number. Like 1800 was forever, 17 will be the same thing. So we can push down and be in the 1700 range. I think that could be a decent long, right? Um, and again, you know, talk about messing things up early. This obviously did that, but I think 17 is probably the next big psychological level that is decent. It was a level in the past as well. So watch out for that one. But right now, it looks like it's going to remain a bit more negative. I did switch charts to silver, but it looks almost exactly the same. It was funny that we had that basing in that zone, and then same thing. It just literally collapsed to the downside, dropped $3. We were talking about taking a bounce from that level, right? We like $24, but unfortunately, the weekend got us on that one. So, and again, Sunday night, I don't do silver. I don't mess with it on silver. So, I do think this one comes up higher as well. But again, find a good area for buyers below. And actually, let me bring it up to like a 3 hour and see if I could find. Um, that one got pushed through. Hmm, it's a 3 hour. Let me drop to an hour and see if that same level's there. Yeah, put these two on, over, this down. Okay, so we know we have an extreme range here. Mark that off. 2209 looks like it is the target. So we'll remove that right now. We'll leave this at 24. Coordinates. Leave that right at 24. This we don't need. Let's pull this. And we're going to drop a potential short right there. Actually, do I want to go higher with that? Hmm, I'm fine with that right now. Red, text the white. Yeah, 24, 22. I think is decent. Again, the way that it pushed off there, it's probably decent for a short. This guy, make it a little bigger. There we go. There's our psychological level at 24. All right. I also like again the 2209. I think that's a decent long down below. Again, much larger. This one is from a larger time frame, so I'm okay with that one. And we'll just leave that down there, right there, just fine. All right, so there's silver. All right, let's go look at the indices. Drop down to a 15 minute. There we go. 9:15, 9:30. Looks like there was a small short off that gap. And again, actually, that would have been rough in futures, man. Actually, I guess we would have had to move it a little bit higher for futures. Actually, would have been there for futures. So again, decent open. The downside. 1, 2. We're gonna mark that for a high. This across. Go there. We're gonna mark this. Hmm, Actually, we'll refine that down a little bit. We're gonna refine it to there. 44.15. Actually, I'm gonna mark that one too. So it looks like there's a couple things in this one. There we go. Looks like two potential levels of buyers down below. Again, there would have been your opening trade. Taking that one in Nadex actually would not have been too bad. That was a spike of about 13 points, very very quick. And again, a small little 15-minute level. It held. Actually, there's the top, so you guys can see there is a little bit of a space there, right? So it absolutely held off that short. Sure, some of you guys got it. I don't even know if it made. Well, it definitely would have made the 1 to 3 down to here. 1, 2, and there's your 3 to 1. I hate how this does this. It like doesn't want to. It's like no. Anyway, you guys can see that it made it. Um, so that was decent. That went right through. I'd be cautious again though. If it comes back up again, be cautious of that. Look for a break of 44.32, and then look for it to push up to 44.50. NQ. Yeah, NQ is just choppy. It's kind of all over the place. I wouldn't say that this one had a decent setup in anything. We can remove this now just so we can clean this up a little bit. I'd say that's there. Let's remove that. It's funny. Look how that bounced right here, and then bounce right there again. Um, eh, I don't know. This one just has really no trend, no direction right now. I don't like this one as much. If you wanted to take a small short off of this one, you could take it a bit higher. Something in this range. It'd be approximately around the 15, right around the dotted line, the 15,150. It's psychological, but I don't know. With everything else being red right now and kind of advancing, I feel like this one's having a really, really hard time going higher. I feel like it's probably more set up for short than anything else. We did have the position here. Oops. We did have the position here last week, right? The 1506, and it broke through. You could probably get another short in there, but I'm not a big fan of that one right now. YM, we talked about this one going lower, and it's funny. It rallied up when we talked about it coming through, and it is testing those buyers. Um, yeah, I mean, I would say, well, love that. So much of a downtrend, and it's like, no, 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 it's going to go up at the last minute, and then poof, right back down, and it pulls right back into that trend. Um, hmm, there's some decent levels in there. I hate to say that like these are all trash because they're not. Um, Problem is, it's like level, 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 bunch of low levels. I'm gonna say there's a potential stop. If you are short, get your profit before here. Say right here. Okay. Uh, Kind of where we're going right now, and that is a break of this level, 34,943. Okay. And again, everything is starting to kind of accelerate here. We're at 10:30, and the things are starting to accelerate. Um, Would like to see a bounce in this though. Problem is, there's a level sitting right here. Is what sucks. It's like, oh, this little level right here. Yeah, remember, wait for this to come down, look for it to base, and then pull back again. We're not looking for spikes through, right? We need some basing. So yeah, watch that one. I would say overall, it looks like these things want to stay negative today. We'll see what Bostic or what is it? What is it? Barkin? Yeah, Barkin. We'll see what Barkin has to say later today for sure. And then Russell. Again, Russell kind of came up, didn't give us another entry, and now it's just chopping back and forth. Russell doesn't look overly impressive either. Again, we'll take this one off now. We can keep this level. All right, we're gonna make that yellow as an area where the sun is gonna like. That short is good from last week. That one is good. Let's pull that across. 15. Definite up top here. Like that pull back, unfortunately. The reason why I draw all these is because I'm trying to count. You guys know this though, right? One, two, three, four is what broke. So I'm trying to look for this on the other side. Problem with this is, and again, this may be what it looks like. It may come down, grab these buyers, pull back up again, and then drop down. This. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not in love with that one. It's all. I would say I would say more short. I don't love it though. I think sorry. It's the problem is there's just so much small stuff over here that's gonna mess with this one. I don't really necessarily love any of these. Like I said, this is not no entry on this one yet. NQ is literally smack in the middle, whipping between two, and then ES is kind of again came up and dropped, so it's officially you're definitely out. But I wouldn't look to get any long. And again, we'll see how what happens when we get to this 44.15. But I think it'll push. All right, guys, that's it today. Like I said, it's Monday. It's boring, so not a whole lot here. VIX is obviously up a bit. Dollar index is kind of again kind of peaking up over here. So we'll see what that's able to do. Uh, Again, this may affect currencies just more, a little bit, but nothing super crazy. So let's get into the drawing. Close it down now. 9 tickets. Debbie won on Friday, so Debbie will be going for 50 today. I'll close this down. Winner of today's drawing is Silent. Whew. Silent is how many did he have? He had just one. Silent, I feel like you've won at least once the last 3 weeks. At least one winner 3 weeks in a row. Actually, last week you had a double, didn't you? Was that last week or 2 weeks ago? You had a double, right? I feel like you guys have been sleeping on this guy, and I feel like he is really kind of coming in there and just sticking it to you guys. Let's go ahead and give Silent his where is Silent? I'll give Silent his 25 extra pip chips. Go Silent, starting off the week strong. Look at that. He is advancing past. Look at that. He just passed Ross. He just jumped ahead of Ross. There you go, Ross. There's your new rivalry, buddy. Don't miss a session because you know if Silent misses, you can catch him. So that's 3 and 2. So yeah, you had a double last week. So yeah, you're starting to hand it to the proven vets, right? You're sticking it to the proven vets, which is always awesome. All right, guys. With that said, I'm out of here. Like I said, not a lot of news today. Tomorrow is kind of even more anemic. The first great day is Wednesday. Don't forget, tomorrow we'll be on for Nadex, but the noon session won't actually occur tomorrow. It'll be a 1 o'clock session. That's what I'm talking about, Fibs. If you guys want to get signed up at Nadex, you guys are more than welcome to. I may try to dual stream it. We'll see how it goes. I tend not to dual stream as much when we're using that program to stream versus restream, but I'll do my best to see if I can do it for you guys if you're not signed up. But that'll be on Fibs, basically using retracements and extensions. So, and again, it's not like a 12-hour course compacted into 15 minutes. It's about 30 minutes worth of and again, it's explaining what they do, why people are looking at them, and kind of the pros and cons of it. So, all right, but that's it. I'm out of here. You guys have an awesome first Monday. I got my eyes on him. He has a magic touch. I love this stuff. All right. I'll see you guys later. If you need me, message me on Discord. I will be around today. You guys take care.